All right, and I think we are live. Hi everyone, Derek here, and if you watched my video yesterday, you know that this year I'm going to be posting daily videos from A Course in Miracles on the different workbook lessons. If you are somebody who's looking to experience more peace in their lives throughout 2024, I strongly encourage you to participate in this. You can get the book for free at acim.org. You can read it for free on their website. You can also order it on Amazon. I'll be reading from the Foundations for Inner Peace version. Before we dive into the introduction, if you're not familiar with what A Course in Miracles is, A Course in Miracles is a big book. It's a lengthy spiritual text that covers universal spiritual ideas. So it uses Christian language, but in a very different way. The application of it is really for helping change your mindset, shifting your thinking from fear to love, so that you can create miracles in your life. A miracle defined by A Course in Miracles is a shift in perception from fear to love, and that is the goal of these workbook lessons. Doesn't matter your faith, doesn't matter if you don't have a faith, doesn't matter your religious background, your spiritual tradition. These principles and these ideas can easily be applied to whatever your current faith is. And these are uneven. I want to share with you before we jump into today's reading for lesson 1 and the introduction. Several years ago, I went through like a really traumatic year, went through like some really, really painful experiences that I just couldn't shake. And because I couldn't shake, I like walked around every day with this pain, thinking about it, feeling it in my heart. It really put me on a path towards self-sabotage, and I just couldn't stop myself. I finally hit rock bottom one day. And as I lay in bed, I won't go into the details now. I think there's another video. Just a really just like crazy couple years, I finally surrendered and said, dear God, I don't know what to do here. My best has gotten me this far, and I need your help. Please help me. I woke up, I got out of bed, walked over to a stack of boxes that had some spiritual text in them. And I just opened the top one, and I opened A Course in Miracles. I read the introduction, and something in me was just like, this is it. This is your path to peace. There's one lesson a day for a year. And it took me about a year and a half to get through them the first time, because I would sit with some ideas for a couple days. But at the end of going through those lessons, I was a completely different person. My life is completely different than it was a couple years ago. Opportunities, financially, just everything is just so different. I'm a very different person. I'm a very healed person. But this year, I had some struggles as well. I had some health challenges and just a couple other challenges. And I was just thinking, well, what if I go through these workbook lessons again? Can I go through these workbook lessons again and see what kind of miraculous changes they can do for me in 2024? So the book is in 3 different parts. The first part is a text that lays it down, basically the principles of what the Course in Miracles is attempting to teach you. The workbook, the last book, is a manual for teachers, so it's a Q&A style. And then the part that we're going to be focusing on in these videos is the workbook. And like I said, it's a lesson every day for a year. The first 6 months is to help you dismantle your thought system and fear. The second 6 months is to help you rebuild a thought system and love. Course in Miracles teaches that our thinking is unnatural, that the thinking of the world is 180 degrees away from the thinking of God. The thinking of the world is the thinking of fear, the investment in the human body as our identity. And A Course in Miracles reminds us that we are all living children of God, and that our nature is love. We are here to love, and we are here to be loved. And that's what it is reminding us. And when we can remember who we are in any given moment, we can then create miracles. We then have all the powers of the universe to heal the body, to increase the finances, to improve the relationships, to expand the career, whatever it might be that you're looking to achieve in this year and just every year after. So we're going to start with the introduction for A Course in Miracles. Actually, this is the introduction for the workbook. A theoretical foundation, such as the text provides, is necessary as a framework to make the exercises in this book meaningful. Yet it is doing the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. It is the purpose of the workbook to train your mind to think along the lines the text sets forth. The exercises are very simple. They do not require a great deal of time, and it does not matter where you do them. They need no preparation. The training period is 1 year. The exercises do not, I mess up already. All right. The exercises are numbered from 1 to 365. Do not undertake to do more than one set of exercises a day. The workbook is divided into two main sections. The first dealing with the undoing of the way you see now, and the second with the acquisition of true perception. With the exception of the review periods, each day's exercises are planned around one central idea, which is stated first. This is followed by a description of the specific procedures by which the idea for the day is to be applied. The purpose of the workbook is to train your mind in a systematic way to differentiate to a different perception of everyone and everything in the world. The exercises are planned to help you generalize the lessons so that you will understand that each of them is equally applicable to everyone and everything you see. Transfer of training and true perception does not proceed as does transfer of training of the world. If true perception has been achieved in connection with any person, situation, or event, total transfer to everyone and everything is certain. On the other hand, one exception held apart from true perception makes its accomplishments anywhere impossible. The only general rules to be observed throughout them are first, that the exercise be practiced with great specificity, as will be indicated. This will help you generalize the ideas involved to every situation in which you find yourself and to everyone and everything in it. Second, be sure that you do not decide for yourself that there are some people, situations, or things to which the ideas are inapplicable. This will interfere with the transfer of training. The very nature of true perception is that it has no limits. It is the opposite of the way you see now. The overall aim of the exercises is to increase your ability to extend the ideas you'll be practicing to include everything. This will require no effort on your part. The exercises themselves meet the conditions necessary for this kind of transfer. Some of the ideas the workbook presents you will find hard to believe, and others will seem to be quite startling. This does not matter. You are merely asked to apply the ideas as you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them at all. You are asked only to use them. It is their use that will give them meaning to you and will show you that they are true. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, and you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy. But do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying these ideas the workbook contains, and whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than that is required. I want to just simplify that real quick. So basically do one lesson a day. If you want to stick with a lesson for a day or two, that's great. Maybe you didn't really feel like you didn't really let it sink in. I think that after maybe 2 or 3 days, if it hasn't sinked in, just move on. A challenge I see a lot of Course in Miracles students experience when they're going through the lessons is, well, I don't understand what this lesson means. I don't understand what this means. And they get lost in that. Well, I just don't understand what it means. The desire to understand what it means isn't really relevant. The Course in Miracles is not asking you to agree with what it is saying. It is simply asking you to take the idea and apply it to your life. When I went through these lessons, I thought they were silly in the beginning, and I didn't really, I was desperate for peace. And so I just kept doing them. And some lessons, I read them. Oh, this makes sense to me. Some lessons, it wasn't until I had applied them multiple times throughout the day. But even just a simple act of using a mantra daily will help you make a shift in your perception. But these ones are really designed to help you make that ultimate shift from fear to love across 365 days. So we're going to move on to lesson 1. And I hope that made sense. Just if you find yourself just I don't understand that, that's usually the ego. The ego likes to complicate things and make things difficult. Don't try to understand them. Just apply them. It's I don't want to go on a tangent, but it's sometimes people talk about believing in God. I don't necessarily believe in God, but I have experienced God. Belief doesn't really matter. If I have to believe in something, then I don't really believe in it, right? I would never say I believe in the sun. I've experienced the sun, and it is the same with God. It's not necessary to believe in God, but to make efforts to experience God. The experience of God overrides any type of belief in God, and it's the same thing with these workbook lessons. The experience that they are creating is what is important, not your belief in them, not your understanding of them, None of that. What is important is that you're applying these lessons every day and seeing what happens in your life. So, lesson one, the mantra is nothing I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place means anything. Now, the directions. Now, look slowly around you and practice applying this idea very specifically to whatever you see. This table does not mean anything. This chair does not mean anything. This hand does not mean anything. This foot does not mean anything. This pen does not mean anything. Then look further away from your immediate area and apply the idea to a wider range. That door does not mean anything. That body does not mean anything. That lamp does not mean anything. That sign does not mean anything. That shadow does not mean anything. Notice that these statements are not arranged in any order and make no allowance for differences in the kinds of things to which they are applied. That is the purpose of the exercise. The statement should merely be applied to anything you see. As you practice the idea for the day, use it totally indiscriminately. Do not attempt to apply it to everything you see, for these exercises should not become ritualistic. Only be sure that nothing you see is specifically excluded. One thing is like another as far as application of the idea is concerned. Each of the first 3 lessons should not be done more than twice each day, preferably morning and evening, nor should they be attempted for more than a minute or so, unless that entails a sense of hurry. A comfortable sense of leisure is essential. All right, so it's asking you to sit there, look around you, and say to yourself, this computer does not mean anything. These Blu-rays do not mean anything. This cat does not mean anything. And look beyond the window. Everything you see outside the window. This tree does not mean anything. That car does not mean anything. That bicycle does not mean anything. And at first, it's like, why am I saying this? The ideas of A Course in Miracles, the mantras, they build on themselves. So as the days progress, you will remember the thinking of the world is 180 degrees away from the thinking of God. So you can't just jump to the way God would think, the way love would think, when you've been conditioned to think with fear. So it's step-by-step progress. I was listening to Marianne Williamson talk recently, and she was talking about that lesson in particular. And she was talking about being at one of her classes or workshops or something. And there was a guy in the audience, and she was doing her Q&A. And he asked, well, I got this text message from this other guy I've been dating, and I got this text message and it just like fired me up. And I'm feeling all kinds of different ways now. And she asked him, do you do the workbook lessons? And he's like, no. Like, he was too cool to do the workbook lessons. And she said, well, that's interesting because lesson 1 of A Course in Miracles is this chair does not mean anything. And had you done that workbook lesson, when you've got that text message, you would have said, this text message does not mean anything. And it would have taken the energy out of that text message so you could remain in love and a clear mind before responding to the text or even thinking about it. And it's really true, because what you'll have at the end of this is, I promise you, if you do these workbook lessons, you will have peace of mind at the end of this. And I lost my train of thought. Oh, you will have a collection of tools at your disposal. You will find yourself weeks, months from now, getting an email from your boss, and something that would normally trigger anger in you, frustration in you, you will read it and say, this email does not mean anything. And when you take the power out of the ego, the power out of fear, then you can think clearly and you can experience peace of mind. So good luck to you in your journey this year with A Course in Miracles. We're going to do these videos every day. And again, if you want to get more information about A Course in Miracles, head over to acim.org. One of the things I love about A Course in Miracles is it is a nonprofit. So people aren't trying to get rich off of A Course in Miracles. It's a nonprofit whose full intention is just to share these life-changing principles and ideas with people. So if you head over to acim.org, you can find information about classes. You can read the text for free. Just a ton of great resources over there. So God bless, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.